So I'm going to just start though by talking about James.
Righto.
You should do it when he's not here.
So the other day,
And
the
then I'll
three of us were here, and luckily the three of us were here, and we were recording about we were describing each other,
Oh, really?
and we didn't get to we just chose not to describe James because he wasn't here.
Because it was too painful.
It was too bad.
We had to bleep out all the swear words.
Yeah.
But we started off talking about as a kid, like describing us as kids.
Well, I can do that because I have the memory. Like I was there when he was born. You know what I mean? Like when James was a little boy, he was very sweet. He was a very, very sweet
Not like now.
person. I'm like, no. No, he was a very sweet person. Look, I'm looking at the mic, not the camera.
Yeah.
And he was quite sensitive in a lot of ways.
Sensitive soul.
As he became older, and we always got along very, very well. I think James is probably the only one out of all of these who I never fought with.
Oh,
Which is surprising because we're very different. But we never fought because James has got a very soft soul, like a very sweet spirit. And excuse me, as he got older, he I remember it was quite giggly. He'd get very giggly, which still happens today.
do you remember Mum and Dad when they first got the VHS recorder?
Yes.
Is that where you were going to go?
I'm picturing that moment.
Sorry.
It was the same
no,
story.
Yeah, it's the same story, but
Because you saw it on video, you don't really
yeah.
remember it.
But you
No,
were
he
like
did
that a
stuff
lot.
like that. So the story is that Dad got his video and he was recording, and James was just going crazy, running up and down the hallway. What were you being, a cowboy? I don't even know what you were being.
Spinning a lasso. I think it might have been being Wonder Woman even. I'm not sure.
Ah.
'Cause-
But yeah, he was very, and we enjoyed, I can't remember if the other two did, but I remember James and I used to enjoy watching these like silly shows on TV all for ages, like Monkey Magic and I don't know, lots of cartoons on Sunday mornings. And we also used to watch Doctor Who a lot together. I don't remember if you guys
I
did or
didn't.
not.
It scared
No,
me.
it's terrible.
I remember
Yeah.
the start of the ooh,
Yeah, the sound
and
is
I would
enough.
run away. I was, no, thank you. But you two, I do remember you two enjoying it together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that funny? I remember we used to watch TV with Dad, and he used to like watching The Professionals and Bergerac, and we were never allowed to watch it because it was past our bedtime. And every now and then he'd let me stay up and watch it.
Favourite? No denying.
No, yeah.
Not often, but I'd always fall asleep. I'd never make it to the end anyway.
But
But he was also very quick-witted as well, and intelligent. Like that came through very early.
Oh,
But
those
yes,
were the days.
certainly very sweet person. My little brother James is.
Oh, thanks, Emma. I remember you being my yeah. I felt like you used to look after me.
Oh, did
When we were
I?
at school and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I do remember that, especially
Yeah.
primary school. You were having an issue with some kid,
Probably.
and I was always massive. Like I was this size, this
You were
height.
taller than everyone.
When I was 13, so I was always
Yeah.
massive. So kids were naturally scared of me, and I can do the
And you weren't
stern
afraid to
thing
use
quite
it.
well. Yeah, and I used it. And I remember one time at Greenbank, going up to a group of kids who I don't know someone must have run up. Probably Briohne ran up to tell me that there was a problem with James, and I just went up.
I've got in a few fights. at
Leave
school.
my brother alone.
Oh,
And I just went,
sit on you.
and they ran away. So yeah, maybe it's that kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's probably part of it. But yeah, I sort of saw you that way.
But you know, now as a group of 4 adults that are just friends, well, not more than just we're more than just friends. We're also siblings. James, you bring a lot to the table in this dynamic. You know, like I think that we all know that if we said to you, James, we need this, you like there'd be no hesitation, or you know, you are loyal and you're in it. That's what I want to say. I don't know if I'm saying it properly, but in this relationship, you're in it, and I really appreciate that. I know from just between you and me, at least, I know that, and I don't have any doubts around it. And that's the thing I'm most grateful for in my relationship with you as an adult, is that I don't have to have any doubts around that. I don't even need reassurance around that. I know you're in it and you've got my back, and I can talk to you about anything. And
True.
and I'm very thankful for that.
Oh,
I'm
that's
so
nice.
thankful for
Thanks,
that.
Briohne.
You like a bit of a chat?
Like I do, yes, James likes a bit of a chat.
James does too.
Mm. And
But oh, sorry to
yeah, no,
interrupt.
go.
I was just going to say, it's funny because the personalities, all the different personalities that can come out of, you know, two parents is very interesting. And
Yes.
Luke and I have often felt that we're sort of similar in personality.
The
And I
good
think
ones.
these two have
The bad one.
found that as well.
So naughty.
And we didn't really rebel, whereas these two are like been a bit wild.
We rebelled by being good.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's what you want to call it.
I know we talked a bit in the other video, we talked about how different pairings have worked and how it's really interesting. Like, you know, you and I have a pairing with gender and sharing mothering, or, you know, but James and I have had, some of our pairing has been being naughty, it has been. And
That's true, we always sort of had secrets.
yeah, a little
with
bit,
each other.
like in teen land.
Yeah.
And
Funny.
I know that I often felt like the odd one out, but in saying that, I felt like you were my ally in being the odd one out.
Except when I was
Yeah,
early.
you only felt, I think you only felt that because we said you were adopted and stuff like that.
Yeah, you
Because
did.
Oh.
They always said I was adopted, and I know I said this already in the other sibling video, where I said to James my big comeback line, yeah, at least they chose me, and then he just said straight away, it's because you were the only one left. So not even he didn't even hesitate. He just said, that's you were the only one left. And then I just read it because I'd thought of that comeback for so long. I thought I had him, but he had me. Yeah, and I was the last one left. Anyway, they picked me. I wasn't adopted, just a lie.
You actually don't have to defend
Then
it.
I always get really self-conscious when you talk about that, because I think deep down there's like you still think it might be true.
No, there's
No one's told you, even now. 40 years later.
But, you know, my imagination, the way my imagination goes, I have actually followed that story in my head. Imagine if it was true, and that's the way my brain always works, and I've created this whole big story in the past about what if it was true and I was adopted, and then I went on to find my natural mother, and then I did this and I did that, and I've played the whole story out, and it was quite
That's a
interesting.
great story. And your natural mother actually turned out to be Mum. She
Yeah.
grew up and then found you again.
She
Why, and
did.
she didn't even know.
And then there was a twin sister as well.
Oh.
And we found her in Spain.
And we left her there.
Yeah.
In Spain.
So, you know.
That's interesting.
Anyway, this is the way my brain works. I love making up stories.
And then I was just
True.
laughing at these two before, the brothers. Brian and I call them the brothers when we're talking about
Because
them.
we
capital
are
T,
Capital
brothers.
T, capital B.
Really?
Yeah.
The bro-
Didn't know about
brothers.
Didn't know about that.
Because
then-
we are the brothers.
It
Yeah.
is.
Perhaps.
You
Yeah.
are
Okay.
actually the
How
brothers.
did you come up with that?
I don't know. And I was sitting over on that couch before, like snuggled under Jezak's new quilt, going. Like, it was very funny.
It
like
actually
the
made a lot
Muppet,
more
the
sense
Men in the
if
Muppets.
you were sitting there and
Yeah.
could hear it.
Yeah.
It wasn't just mumbling.
Yeah, we're talking about like power meters and stuff.
Yeah.
It was like old man mumbling, grumbling.
It's because they're talking about power meters and stuff. That's what old men talk about, isn't it? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I think we've had quite a unique growing up experience, and we've had some unique, like, well, with our travels in PNG, which you talked about a little bit before,
Yeah.
really shaped all of us in different ways, I think. And also growing up earlier on 10 acres was a nice experience. Probably shaped our characters a bit differently from other families, I suppose. So anyone got any good memories you want to talk about?
No.
Bryony used to sing a lot, and I felt, probably incorrectly, I don't know, that she was singing the wrong words to lyrics
Oh, I felt the same way.
on purpose.
So did the lyric
And I
sheet.
remember one
Yeah.
time James and I were on the swing set, which felt like it was far, far, far at the back, but it probably wasn't even where the shed is now. And we were just, I don't know what we were doing, talking, playing, whatever. And then Bryony came along and went, and she was so excited and exuberant and singing the wrong words, like on purpose. It felt like, I don't know. And so James
I
and
just did the wrong words with conviction, not purpose. Yeah.
and this sort of thing would happen a lot. And James and I told her to go away, and I felt very bad.
Oh, I don't feel bad. I have actually had a problem. I'm gonna confess. I do have a problem with lyrics. I don't know what they are, but I decided when I was quite young. I remember deciding it because someone was teasing me about singing the wrong words. That I decided that the singer, the person who owned the song, was wrong, and I was right. and that I would sing whatever I decided the words were with conviction, because then either the person listening wouldn't know and they just believed that I was right, or
Not bad.
or they could, if I was found out, I could just say, no, I chose to sing it that way, because
Well,
if I did it with conviction, then it was
I
my
remember you
choice.
saying that to me once.
Yeah.
You were singing the wrong words. I said, those aren't the words. And you went, I know, but these are the words that I want to sing, or something like that. It's like,
I was quite young,
but
I-
that doesn't change that they're wrong.
Yeah. But I remember deciding that quite young.
Yeah.
Maybe, so there's a performer in me that was honing her skills so young.
Yeah, we had a good childhood, I think. Mum and Dad tried to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And,
I think so.
well, all like 2 years apart, except I think you two are the closest.
Yeah, we are. Like,
Yeah,
we're
like
it-
just under 2
between
years.
November and February, we're only 1 year apart. That's how I think about it. It's like we're this far apart, and then for like 3 or 4 months we're this far apart, and then we're this far apart again.
That's funny.
It's really funny.
So I can never remember what year Briohne's born in.
77,
Yeah, I'm like, but is it?
77.
Oh, is it 70? No, it's 70.
1980,
Yeah, I remember.
76.
There, Luke's is easy. It's like makes the maths easy.
I always know
Does.
how old I am. It's
That's
great.
good.
Yeah.
I remember when Mum brought you home from hospital.
Really?
I remember her walking through the door with you.
Yeah, I've kind
It's
of
the
got
wrong kid.
I've kind of got vaguer memories than that, but yeah, I remember it too.
But you look like your parents, so don't be worried, you weren't adopted.
Alright.
And I remember
That's
when she
true.
went into labour with you too. We-
Oh, really?
Yeah, we all had to hop in the car, and it was really early in the morning, like still dark. And she must have only had like initial contractions because there was no panic. It was just like all calm. Everyone, get in the car right now. But I was panicked. And then we went and sat. We drove, and then we
really?
sat outside the gate of Baxendales.
Baxendales. Oh, really?
And
We went that way?
waited.
Oh, because we went
I
to
was born
Bow
in
Desert.
Desert.
That's
I'm
right.
the odd one out.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Marta.
Mara.
Mara.
I am a country
Mara.
kid.
Bow
Born in
Desert.
Bow Desert. Bowie.
I went to Bow Desert when I got shot in the leg. It was the most terrifying car
I
trip of my
wanted to
life.
just say so
Was
quickly
the arrow
before we
stuck
move on
in?
from Mum.
No, they pulled it out.
I remember going with her to antenatal appointments with
Oh,
wee, and
really?
I remember us getting ready to go in the car and having to do a wee in a jar for an
Oh.
antenatal appointment, and then the big peanut butter jar of wee.
I always did that.
Right, I just do have that
Even
memory
when she wasn't
before we
pregnant.
move on. From that.
I got something for you.
And
Yeah.
then,
Oh,
We never ate peanut butter after that.
Did you go with her to the doctor for
yeah,
that?
I do remember.
sorry, what
that.
was that one for?
Just for pregnancy, antenatal. That's one of my
Do you
earlier
remember that
memories.
with Luke?
I remember it too.
That's
You could.
Different
I do.
perspective though.
Yeah.
amazing.
I just remember there's like a picture that I remember her telling me to wait. She had to do a wee wee in the jar for the baby so they could check the baby, and then us going in the car with the big
Isn't that
jar of
funny?
wee.
Or maybe she had another
But
pregnancy scare later.
no, we would know about that. But James was about to say about Bowie Hospital and his experience.
Oh no, that's all right.
I just was finishing up the baby one.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to hijack Luke's Bow Desert.
Glory.
Luke's made as a
Glory.
glory.
You went to
Yeah.
my town.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and we had to wait there till the sun came up, and it was for ages.
What was that? Oh, that was the baby being born.
But Luke being born.
So
yeah.
were we going to that person's place to be babysat or something?
Yeah, yeah, all of us, three
And
of
that
us.
whole family were going, oh man, we're trying to sleep. I don't know that family or that name.
And I do remember.
I remember playing with those girls.
Well, they caught
Twins.
the bus to Verisdale.
No, they weren't twins.
They just looked alike.
Yeah, they looked alike. They
Just
both had
the same.
long straight hair, like
Mm.
late '70s style kids. And they were, what were they, a year apart or something?
I don't
Were they
remember that
twins?
detail.
No, I don't think so.
I remember. No, I don't. I don't know who we're talking about.
Oh no, sorry, I'm thinking of
The
someone
Barons,
else. Yeah, I'm
thinking
thinking
of
of the
Barons.
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 No, oh yeah, right. I remember going to their house and playing on a flying fox and having this massive water bomb fight. It was before you could buy like water balloons.
Yeah.
You made them all out of newspaper, folded.
Wow.
That's cool.
So I used to know how to fold
Wow.
water bombs out of paper, but I can't remember how to do it now.
I'm sure it'll
That's
come
a
back to
skill
you.
you need to get.
That's
You
pretty
surely can YouTube that.
But we had a lot of musical, like singing,
Lots of
and
singing.
guitar playing from these two, especially, growing up, didn't we? And we actually, I think, have probably all commented at some point that when we sing with our siblings, that it must be because of the gene pool or something, I don't know, but our voices actually blend really, really well together,
Yeah.
no matter which harmony or...
Except I can't remember how to sing anymore.
That's not true. How do you forget how to sing?
You just stop doing it.
Just checking.
Your voice can get a bit rusty, but I don't think you forget how to sing.
Gets back. You get back.
Yeah.
Warm it up.
Yeah, and I think probably those of us who have children have tried to emulate a lot of the things that mum
What are
and
you
dad
leaving me
have
out of
done.
it for?
I don't know. Have you got children somewhere?
Not that I know of.
That would be a story worth
Think of all the
listening
money I've
to.
saved.
That's true. That is true.
I think we've tried to emulate some of the ways that mum and dad have raised us,
Yeah.
and some of the values that they've tried to
Yeah.
instill in us.
What do you think that from taking from mum and dad, and even without having children yet, James, what do we all think that what do you all think that we've taken from mum and dad that we really want to instill in our parenting to our children?
You go first. You got the young ones.
A focus on character, right? And behaviour is second.
As in acting.
Yeah, that's right.
Character shoes.
Yeah, no. But focusing on character development rather than just pure behaviour. Behaviour is downstream from character development.
It's downstream. I like that.
That's
yeah,
true.
it's secondary. And it's interesting because both mum and dad, probably if they were married other people and have other kids, would still bring. It's not just one doing it. They'd bring similar ideals, I think, to whichever relationship they were in.
Do you think that's obviously a lot of that's personal and sort of their own, cultural and religious background, but how much of that's generational as well? Just this values and principles based kind of way
Somewhat
of doing things. Yeah.
Somewhat.
But I mean, there's probably still people in that late 70s, 80s who are devoid of it also.
Oh,
so
of course.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
it's
I think-
interesting, right?
I think it's probably more common. I would think.
Because I just feel like, and this is sort of a different topic, so I won't start, but I feel like society's kind of forgotten how that stuff works, but we always knew.
Yeah. No, I agree.
We always
Like
knew.
everyone's all
True.
distracted by all this crap,
stuff.
and then they sort of forget that, actually, no, it's important that a child has boundaries,
Yeah. That's
or it's important
exactly.
that you understand the value of hard work.
And
or,
responsibility.
it's like,
And that only through allowing them to take personal risk can they actually then develop that idea of responsibility.
that's true actually.
So
How many of us have broken bones?
there's still time, girls.
Yeah. Oh, you have.
What would you prefer?
Maybe you have a few cracks.
I've got lots of cracks. I wanted to say with I've finished my parenting journey, I guess, but something I think that mum and dad gifted us that I think that I've gifted my boys in our parenting is emotional intelligence. I think that we've been taught through osmosis how to analyse our emotions and maybe build resilience and those things. And I think with my children as well, although they've got their own flaws and their own things, I'm not saying they're great with their self-analysis always, but I think that is something that has been passed down, a way to self-analyse and then have an emotional intelligence around dealing with situations. I think that we all have an emotional intelligence that is maybe, I'm going to say, superior to other people's.
Yeah,
and I would hope
I think so, actually.
Just generally, don't limit it to emotional intelligence.
Just intelligence.
Superiority.
No,
no,
just generally. Just
Yeah,
superiority.
Just superiority. But I do think that is something that we Hallam's do very well. Is have an emotional intelligence.
Go, buddy, go.
Not like Buddy.
Buddy just saw a bush turkey and his emotions are out of control.
Hey, Buddy.
But I think that my children,
Oh, you
boys,
got
if
a
you're
Me Too.
watching
Hello,
this,
Me
I'm
Too.
proud of your emotional intelligence and the way that you can monitor and analyse that and then adjust your behaviour to suit.
It's true, hey.
Yeah, I agree.
It's hard though.
It is hard.
I think I've learned to be much better at that than I used to be, but I think the point is that you kind of had some basis for developing it.
Yeah,
Whereas people that I've met
don't.
they don't even have an awareness
I think
that
for
they are a participant in their own life. Do you know what I mean? Or like that they're
Yeah.
an agent in their own
Story.
destiny
yeah.
or whatever.
I think one thing for me would be integrity. I've tried to instill that in my children with my wonderful husband. And that comes from mum and dad, definitely. Do the right thing when no one's
looking.
Especially from mum.
Yeah.
To like an extreme level.
Do the right thing when no one's looking, even when no one's
Even when it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that sort of permeated everything, coloured everything that we've done with our children. But definitely agree with the other things as well. And work ethic, I think, has come from mum and dad as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tim.
Maybe our grandparents, maybe it's come all the way from
Yeah,
them.
I think so. I think that stuff's definitely generational as well as sort of personal. It's so important.
And taking the time, like I think mum and dad actually, their manner with children is really, really effective. Like, you know, especially like just dealing with Kiara the last couple of weeks while I've been here, you know, that age group, the sort of preschool age group, you know, taking the time just to explain things to kids and to validate their feelings and their thoughts, but also at the same time to provide boundaries and to allow them to know their place. That's something that Brent and I have done a lot, is to allow children the freedom to know their place, that they are just a child and that that's okay and that that's good. That's something that I think has been lost generally in society. In my work with high school students, you see that parenting now, the kids don't know their place. They think that they're 25 when they're 13 and they expect to be treated like they're 25. But I think there's beauty and freedom in allowing a child to be a child.
Well, you have to,
allowing a
right? Because they're not
teenager to be
25
a
and they
teenager.
don't know stuff.
They don't have
They
the
don't have
faculties.
They're not.
This and the this.
They're not
yes.
independent. They're not self-sufficient. They're not any of those things. And if you tell them they are, then it can't be good.
Yep.
Can of worms. Can of worms.
Can of worms. But I think the thing that I've always thought about mum and dad that I've noticed that was a surprise to me with other people is, and I think it's really important, right? But people, the other thing that people do with kids is they talk down to them.
Yeah.
Or they baby talk to them. And I think it stunts their intellect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they don't ever have to stretch to try to understand the world as it is. It's always kind of prefabricated for them in some way. And it's not helpful. It's infantilizing, right? Unnecessarily.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And you know, you should always be trying to get, you know, it's almost the opposite of what you're saying, but I think the two things are complementary, right? You have
They
to
are.
kind of
Sorry, I was muted.
acknowledge where you
Where
are,
they-
but then go,
That's
here's
right.
where you could
and,
be.
And look at the growth as well.
Yeah.
Forward project. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely. What's turned into parenting 101?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. And I don't
parenting.
even have any kids, so.
You don't need to have kids to
alright.
have ideas about parenting.
Brent and I didn't have kids for 6 years, and we just looked at everybody else and criticised
when
them
you
and
were the best
formulated
at
our little.
parenting.
Yeah, that was when you were the best, yeah.
That's right.
It was all downhill from there.
But seriously, our ideas on parenting are forming from when we're children
True.
and how we do it.
That's right.
I get really cross when people say, you know, you're not a parent, you can't have an idea, you can't, like, that's stupid. That's the same as what you were saying the other day about you can't walk in someone else's shoes, you know. Of course, you've formulated opinions and ideals.
And observe
You know,
and
Yeah. It's where the baby doesn't come with a manual. You've been creating your own for many years before. Yeah, I loved being
What
a
did we
parent.
say about Luke
Oh, I loved
the
it.
other day?
That was good.
can't remember.
Really?
When you and I were talking.
No, when you said that you talked about each other.
Honestly, I can't remember.
Oh, what did we say about Luke as an adult? Well,
Yeah, 'cause I
we
wasn't there.
Emma-
No, and
Emma-
as a child.
Emma described
sibling.
Luke, and then it was a bit funny. Emma described Luke.
Oh, sorry, Luke.
I can
I'm
handle
trying to
it.
bring out some good stuff.
No, it's hard. People think pulling teeth is hard. Like that's become the same, but it's more like let's say something good about Luke is the new pulling.
Got nothing.
Yeah.
Luke is well because I've got
No, we
things
did
about
it at
Luke.
the
Like
time.
Luke was always, I
You were
think
there, right?
Luke
Yeah.
of
I
all
was
of
the
us,
most critical of anyone.
Luke was the most principled.
Oh, that's such a great word for Luke.
Oh, look out. That's
Was.
good.
Principle.
Was.
That's
Still is.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no.
Still
still-
is.
They were for sale for a hefty price. And once I received that price, well, principles
Yeah,
are gone.
I think
You
you had a
only lose
sense
them
of. I
once.
think you had a really strong sense of justice, which I may have
True.
contributed to by being mean to you,
No.
which I still feel bad about.
Oh dear.
Now it's turning into
well,
confession time.
Yeah. No, but you know, Luke was. I think that was really notable. Like he did have a very strong sense of justice, which sometimes was disproportionate to the situation. I think, and as an older sibling, it was easy to upset you because of that. But you know, it doesn't mean you were wrong.
It just meant you enjoyed upsetting him.
Yeah, probably. Oh, just getting a reaction, you know. I think. Yeah. Anyway, it's one of those things as kids, right? Like
Yeah.
we used to have these. We used to hate each other. Well, you probably never hated me, but I had that feeling towards you,
Yeah.
Bronnie. when we were kids, like, because you were so annoying.
I know.
It's
And
such
as
a
a
strange
child-
relationship.
Next
Yeah.
level annoying,
Yeah.
I know that.
Oh.
No,
Yeah.
We did
it's
love you,
okay
though.
because I put Jezak in my little brood and I understand that one kid that can be next level annoying.
Yeah.
But
But I mean, that's.
principle is a great word for you, Luke.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can
Concur.
really, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, and focused, right? Like the thing that I always tell people about you who haven't met you, like if I talk about you, and it's what you did to get to where you are in terms of your job, and you decided that's what you wanted to do at a very young age, and you just did it to the point where I distinctly remember the conversation where it'd be a bunch of us going, you know, you would have been, 16 probably, and I would have been, whatever I was, 19, 20, still living at home. We're going to Macca's, do you want to come? And you say things like, this is why you're annoying as well as principal.
Story,
are you going to pay for it? And I go, no. And you go, well, I'm not coming. Because you had to save your money for flying.
Yeah, you were focused.
And it was just like every cent.
Yeah, wasn't
But
it?
you had
And that
you had
was
to
years,
be
right?
like that.
Like that was what, 6 or 7 years of
Long time.
hard slog, and then moving to Kununurra on spec and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like that's really impressive.
We admire you, Luke.
Oh, it's
And
very
you
kind.
did all that at a younger age than other people would
True,
be
true.
able
But
to
I think
do.
that was noticeable for us, like, you know, all that stuff in PNG and all of the trauma that Mum and Dad went through that we sort of inherited. We all kind of responded to it in a different way.
Yeah.
I think me and Briohne played up a lot, you know, and just kind of went back. I don't know if it was rebellious from.
No, it was never rebellious.
But it was
We
just
were having
kind of
fun.
just loose. It was like, okay, there's no rules. We're going to do whatever we want. And Emma, you kind of got shipped off, so
I
you
did.
missed a bit of it. But you were always very diligent.
Not by choice.
you
Mum
know,
and Dad didn't
and-
want to ship.
and-
I wasn't as
industrious.
diligent as people thought.
Well, you were much more diligent than me. And Luke was always very principled, and it's just interesting how you kind of, you know, because I think you felt a great sense of responsibility in that. You know, being here with Mum,
Yeah,
and
that was a
Briohne.
lot.
There was a lot on your
and
little
not that I was
shoulders.
here, and I sort of felt, I don't know what I felt. I was a lunatic. I was just running around and being super stressed out and dealing with it by just, you know, I don't know. I think having adventures was a form of medication. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just interesting how all that plays out. And how everyone does it.
Did
different
you
ways.
realise, like, did you have a moment where you went, if I'm going to have this, I have to do it on my own? I have to.
Absolutely, yeah. It was the second last day of year 12.
Yeah.
Lying
Really?
in bed in that
Yeah,
room.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I remember lying in that bed, all lights out, quiet house.
Yeah.
Because you'd already, I think I was the only one there.
Yeah, I'd be-
You
yeah,
may
I
not have been there. You might have already moved out.
No.
again. And I just remember thinking, well, either you do it or you don't. You know, what am I
Yeah.
going to do? So
Yeah.
I went and did it. You know,
Yeah.
you can either sit around crying about things or you can make it
Yeah.
happen.
And I think you've got the
So-
strongest expression of that, but I think we all have that. You know, it's sort of
Yeah,
what you've got. It's
absolutely.
down to you in the end. Like
Yeah,
Dad
yeah,
used to
yeah.
always say that to me.
Yeah.
You know, if you know, when you're old, if you've got one friend, you're lucky. Yeah. Yeah. So
We're
true.
not victims.
No.
You know, and you think if anyone could sit around and complain
There's still
about being
time.
victims,
There's still
then,
time.
then mum and dad
Check,
could.
check your privilege, bro.
Uh-huh.
But they don't. God.
Were you going to say
Oh,
something?
I almost did.
Yeah.
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 But Luke, I find that I find that amazing about you, and I recognise that you must have had a moment like that. And Emma, you too. I think we've all had a moment like that where we've had a realisation that we're an adult now, and the buck stops here. Because I know you kind of touched on that a bit with that college too, where you've gone right. I've got to get through this for
Yeah.
you.
I've got to go and buy warm clothes.
That was another thing about Mum and Dad. You know how I was saying they don't sort of talk down to you? As a
Yeah.
kid, I don't know about you guys, but I knew what the, you know, in some sense, what the financial situation was. I understood what their business was.
Yeah,
I was
true.
going into a factory when I was 6 years old. I remember distinctly when Dad had the furniture factory and all the guys having smoko, and they'd send me, I used to walk
Yeah.
around the side of the shed up the back to the servo, and I'd
Down
buy
in
them all
that
their
back
cigarettes.
alley.
Yeah, and you have to go up this little, it wasn't a retaining wall, just a cutting off. It was this high, you'd have to sort of
Seemed
climb up.
huge as a kid.
And this old, I remember this old biddy that was in the service station because it was still the early 80s, right? So you just go up and I'd go, I'll have a packet of Winnie Reds, a packet of Winnie Blues, you know, and I'd have a $50 note.
And he'd take 3 out of each packet.
Yeah. And the woman always goes, oh, these are all for you, Dale. Because you're like this high buying cigarettes
And
and
they're
stuff.
all different flavours.
But you
like
know, so
why
you're,
would you-
you're exposed to all that, like all these guys who are like factory workers who, you know, we came from this little kind of Seventh-day Adventist sweetness and light family, and then you're in the middle of this stuff. And then I learned how to spray paint and use not just power tools but industrial machines before I was 10.
Stephen's mentioned this stuff too.
So, you know, what was the point of all that rant? I don't know.
Exposure.
Guidance, maybe
It's
guidance.
quite
Expectation.
amazing
Yeah.
the different scenarios that we were exposed to, like you're talking about you being in the workshops and the machinery and all that stuff. I I really admire that Mum and Dad were never scared to expose us to different things. Like,
Even when
they were never protecting our little children, and we just participated in what.
and that
other
probably
people
came from
doing.
Dad more than Mum. I think if Mum had a way, a lot of that stuff wouldn't have happened.
Who knows?
You know,
Who
just that
knows?
maternal instinct, whereas Dad's just loose as.
Oh, and also, like he told stories about him and Uncle John having to light the big boiler in the textile factory to warm for the workers at 7 and 8 years of age. So I mean, his exposure obviously for him, it's not loose. It's just you should be part of what the.
Well, it's kind of an acceptance of risk, right? Like just going, it's risky.
Which is healthy.
It's just a given that zeroes out. Like sometimes you'll be unlucky.
Yeah.
I think that's how it is.
Like poor Kingsley sawing his finger off.
He put it through a thickness, or I was there.
Oh, blood. Mum always said I should be a nurse, but blood's always grossed me out. I never understood why she.